Right now, at this very moment, the most dangerous winter storm in over a decade is heading straight toward your neighborhood. And what you do in the next 72 hours could determine whether your family stays safe and warm or ends up in a life-threatening situation. 70 million Americans. That is how many people are about to face what meteorologists are calling a once-in-a-generation weather event. But here is what nobody is telling you. This is not just about snow. This is about ice. Catastrophic ice. The kind that brings down power lines, snaps century-old oak trees like toothpicks, and leaves entire communities in the dark for weeks. You are probably wondering, is my area really at risk? Stay with me for 30 seconds and I will give you the exact answer you need, because buried in the latest computer models is a shocking detail that could save your life. The European weather model, the most accurate prediction system on Earth, has run this scenario 217 times. And 217 times it shows the same terrifying result: a massive collision between Arctic air, colder than anything most of us have felt in years, and moisture-rich southern stream energy loaded with precipitation. When these two forces meet over the heartland this Friday, they will create something meteorologists rarely see: a perfect storm. Here is your first reward for staying with me. If you live anywhere from New Mexico to New Jersey, you need to hear this. The Weather Prediction Center just upgraded their forecast. They now show a 70 to 90% chance of major winter storm impacts across a zone that includes Raleigh, Greensboro, Asheville, and stretching all the way through southern Virginia. That bright blue zone on their map, that means they are almost certain this is coming. But it gets worse. Much worse. Temperature anomalies of 30 to 40 degrees below average are forecast to settle in behind this storm. Let me put that in perspective for you. If your normal temperature for late January is 35 degrees, you could be looking at daytime highs near zero. Nighttime lows, we are talking about -10, -20 in some areas. And this Arctic blast is not passing through quickly. The latest ensemble models show this brutal cold locked in place for 15 straight days. Now you are thinking, I have been through cold snaps before. What makes this one different? Here is what makes this different: the ice. Current model blends are showing ice accumulations of ½ an inch across massive swaths of the country: Dallas, Fort Worth, northern Texas, southern Arkansas, northern Louisiana. And here is the nightmare scenario: parts of South Carolina could see up to 2 inches of ice. 2 inches. Do you know what happens when 2 inches of ice forms on power lines? They do not bend, they snap. When 2 inches of ice weighs down tree branches, they do not survive. They crash down onto homes, cars, and yes, more power lines. One reliable computer model is already predicting this: millions of people without electricity. And not for hours, for days, possibly weeks. Are you starting to see why preparation is not optional? Let me tell you about two families. Neither of them knows each other, but their stories are about to intersect with this storm in very different ways. The Johnsons live in Oklahoma City. Right now, they are going about their normal Tuesday routine: work, school pickup, dinner plans. They heard something about a winter storm on the news, but Oklahoma gets winter weather sometimes, right? How bad could it be? They have a quarter tank of gas in the car, maybe 3 days of food in the pantry, no flashlights with working batteries. Their prescription medications running low, but they can refill them later this week. The Martins live in Richmond, Virginia. They also heard about the storm, but they did something different. They acted. Today, right now, they are at the pharmacy refilling every prescription they have. Tomorrow, they will stock up on non-perishable food: canned goods, dried pasta, rice, peanut butter, foods that do not require cooking. They are buying 7 gallons of drinking water per person in their household. They are testing their flashlights, checking their batteries, and here is the critical part: they are developing a plan to stay warm without electricity. Which family do you think will fare better when this storm arrives? I am going to share something with you that most weather presenters will not say out loud. As I look at this data, as I see these model runs coming in hour after hour showing the same catastrophic scenario, I am genuinely concerned. Not concerned in a professional meteorologist way, concerned in a fellow human being way. This storm has the potential to create a humanitarian crisis. And here is why I know this is serious. The pattern we are seeing right now, the setup, the ingredients, it is eerily similar to what happened in Texas in February 2021. Do you remember that? 4.5 million people without power. Some for more than a week, temperatures plunging below zero, water pipes freezing and bursting. food shortages. At least 246 people died, many of them from hypothermia, carbon monoxide poisoning from improper heating methods, or complications from lack of medical care. That was one state. This storm could impact 15 states or more. Now, let me break down exactly what is happening in the atmosphere right now, because understanding this will help you grasp the timeline and the severity. There are two massive pieces of energy currently moving across the Pacific Ocean. Think of them as two freight trains on separate tracks heading toward the same intersection. The northern stream is bringing a lobe of the polar vortex. This is some of the coldest air on planet Earth, not just cold for North America, cold for the entire planet. We are talking about air masses that originate above the Arctic Circle, where temperatures right now are hovering around -40 degrees. The southern stream is bringing moisture, lots of it. A Baja low, weather speak for a storm system forming near Southern California, is going to ride along the southern tier of the United States, sucking up moisture from the Pacific Ocean and eventually the Gulf of Mexico. These two systems are going to phase. They are going to merge. And when they do, probably somewhere over the Four Corners region, they will create a meteorological bomb. Here is the timeline you need to know. Write this down. Wednesday, we start to see the first snowflakes. Nothing major yet, just a preview of what is coming. Light snow showers across parts of the plains and Midwest. Thursday, things begin to deteriorate. The Arctic air starts pushing south in earnest. Temperatures will be falling throughout the day. Friday afternoon, this is when the crisis begins. A potentially record-breaking high-pressure system will be funneling Arctic air south at an incredible rate. At the same time, that southern stream moisture is getting pulled into the system. By Friday evening, we could see the first significant ice accumulation starting in Oklahoma, northern Texas, and Arkansas. Saturday, the height of the storm. This is when the most dangerous conditions will be present across the widest area. Heavy snow for some, crippling ice for others, and blizzard conditions where strong winds combine with heavy snowfall. Travel will not just be difficult, it will be impossible. And I mean impossible. We could see interstate highways shut down, airports closed, emergency services unable to respond. Sunday, the storm begins to track northeast. The Carolinas, Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, southern New Jersey, even parts of Pennsylvania could be getting hammered while the southern plains are dealing with the aftermath. Monday and Tuesday of next week, the storm may linger along the coast, but even as the precipitation ends, the Arctic air stays. And stays. And stays, which brings me to the promise I made you at the beginning. At the 5-minute mark, I would tell you exactly what you need to do. Well, here it is, your step-by-step survival guide for this storm. Step 1, prescriptions. Today, not tomorrow, today. Get every prescription medication refilled right now. If you have family members who rely on daily medications, if you have conditions like diabetes, heart disease, asthma, anything that requires regular medication, get a full 30-day supply if possible. If your insurance will not cover it, pay out of pocket. Your life is worth more than a copay. Step 2, water. You need 1 gallon of drinking water per person per day. Plan for 7 days minimum. If you have 4 people in your household, that is 28 gallons. Yes, that seems like a lot. Buy it anyway. Water pipes can freeze, water treatment plants can lose power, municipal water systems can fail. Step 3, food. Non-perishable food for 7 days. Here is what you need. Canned goods that can be eaten cold. Tuna, chicken, beans, vegetables, fruit, peanut butter, lots of it. Crackers, granola bars, nuts, dried fruit, cereal that can be eaten dry. If you have a manual can opener, make sure you can find it. If you do not have one, buy 2. Step 4, heat. This is critical. Never use a gas stove or oven to heat your home. Never burn charcoal indoors. Never run a generator inside your house or garage. These mistakes kill people every single winter. If you have a fireplace, stock up on firewood now. If you have a generator, make sure it works and you have fuel. Place it outside at least 20 feet from your home. Here is a safer option. Layer up. Thermal underwear, multiple layers of clothing, hats, gloves, sleeping bags rated for cold weather. Close off rooms you do not need to heat. Hang blankets over windows. Stay in one room together. Step 5. Light. LED flashlights and batteries. Lots of batteries. Also, battery-powered or hand-crank radio. When the power goes out, your phone will eventually die. How will you get emergency information? A radio. Step 6. Your car. Fill up your gas tank completely. Do it today. In a power outage, gas stations cannot pump fuel. Keep your car at least half full for the entire duration of this event. Also, put a winter emergency kit in your vehicle. Blankets, water, snacks, flashlight, first aid kit, phone charger. Step 7. Communication. Charge every device you own. Phone, tablet, laptop, backup battery packs. When the power goes out, these will be your lifeline to the outside world. Also, identify a family member or friend who lives far away from the affected area. This person becomes your communication hub. Everyone in your family checks in with them. Step 8. Check on others. Elderly neighbors, people living alone, anyone with medical conditions or mobility issues. Make a plan to check on them daily. If roads become impassable, knock on their door. If you cannot get to them, call them. Step 9. Protect your pipes. When temperatures drop below freezing for extended periods, pipes can freeze and burst. Let faucets drip slowly. Open cabinet doors under sinks to allow warm air to circulate. Know where your main water shutoff valve is located. Step 10. Lower your expectations. This is not a snow day. This is an emergency. You will not be going to work. Kids will not be going to school. You will not be running to the store for milk. Plan to stay home for at least 5 to 7 days. Now here is something that is going to shock you. According to the GFS Ensemble data, Oklahoma City has an 80% chance of receiving at least 4 inches of snow. But snow is not their main problem. Ice is. Some models are showing Oklahoma City could receive up to half an inch of ice before the snow even starts. That is catastrophic. Virginia, you need to pay very close attention. Multiple ensemble models are converging on a solution that brings you massive snowfall totals. I am talking about 12 inches or more for significant portions of the state. Some areas could see close to 2 feet. Combined with strong winds, this creates whiteout conditions and impassable roads for days. But here is the plot twist nobody saw coming. The interior Northeast, places like upstate New York and Vermont that have been hammered with snow all winter, they might dodge the worst of this. The storm track is looking further south, which means places that rarely see significant winter weather could get absolutely buried. Columbia, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Charlotte, North Carolina. These are not cities built for ice storms. Their power infrastructure is not designed for half an inch of ice accumulation. They do not have the fleet of salt trucks and plows that northern cities have. When this ice hits, and current models say it will, the impact will be devastating. Let me paint you a picture of what half an inch of ice does. It adds 500 pounds of weight to a single power line span. Tree branches snap under the weight. Not small branches. Major limbs. Whole trees. They fall onto power lines, onto houses, onto cars, across roads. Utility crews cannot even begin repairs until the ice melts enough to be safe. And if temperatures stay below freezing for days, which they will, that ice is not melting. The death toll from winter storms does not usually come from the storm itself. It comes from what happens after, hypothermia, because people did not prepare to stay warm without electricity. Carbon monoxide poisoning, because people made desperate decisions to heat their homes with unsafe methods. Heart attacks from shoveling heavy snow. Car accidents from attempting to drive in impossible conditions. House fires from overloaded electrical systems or improper use of space heaters. And medical emergencies that could not get treatment because ambulances could not reach them. I do not tell you this to frighten you. I tell you this because knowledge is power and preparation saves lives. Remember the Johnsons and the Martins? Let me tell you how their stories end. The Johnsons, who did not prepare, they ran out of food by day 3. Their pipes froze and burst on day 4, flooding their basement. They burned furniture in their fireplace to stay warm, but did not realize their chimney was blocked, filling their house with smoke. They had to evacuate to a shelter, assuming they could even reach one. The Martins had a different experience. They were uncomfortable, sure. It was cold without power. They were tired of eating canned soup. But they were safe. They were warm enough. They had water, food, medications. They checked on their neighbors. They helped others. And when the power finally came back on after 6 days, they were exhausted but unharmed. Which family do you want to be? Here is something else you need to know. The European model, which has been incredibly consistent on this storm, shows the Arctic air mass lingering for 15 days. 15 days of below average temperatures. Even after the snow and ice stop falling, even after the storm moves away, you will still be dealing with dangerous cold. This is what happened in Texas in 2021. The initial storm passed, but the cold stayed, and that is when the real crisis began. Power grids failed because demand was too high. Natural gas supplies were disrupted because equipment froze. Wind turbines iced over. The entire system collapsed under the strain. Could that happen again with this storm? Possibly. Power companies have made improvements since then. But we are talking about a larger geographic area, more people affected, and potentially even colder temperatures in some regions. The national blend of models, which takes all our major forecasting tools and averages them together, is already showing ice accumulations of 0.4 to 0.5 of an inch across huge sections of the South, northern Louisiana, southern Arkansas, East Texas, the Carolinas. And remember, this is an average. Some individual models are showing an inch and a half. In parts of South Carolina, some models show nearly 2 inches of ice. If you live in these areas and you are not preparing, you are gambling with your safety and the safety of your family. Now, at this point, you might be thinking, maybe this is all hype. Maybe the storm will weaken. Maybe it will track differently. Maybe it will not be as bad as they are saying. And you know what? I hope you are right. I genuinely hope that by Friday I can tell you the models were wrong, that I overreacted, that this storm fell apart. I would love nothing more than to be completely wrong about this. But here's the thing. The data is not showing that. Every model run, every update continues to show a major winter storm. The European model has been locked in on this solution for days now. The GFS is showing similar results. The ensemble models, which run dozens of different scenarios, are converging on the same outcome. The Weather Prediction Center, staffed by the best meteorologists in the country, is issuing high probability warnings for major impacts. When all the data points in the same direction, we have to take it seriously. So here is what I want you to do right now, today, before you finish watching this. Make a list. Write down everything you need. Prescriptions, water, food, batteries, fuel. Then go get those things. Do not wait until tomorrow. Do not wait until Thursday. Stores will be mobbed by Thursday. Shelves will be empty. Gas stations will have lines wrapped around the block. Act now while you still have time. Talk to your family. Make sure everyone knows the plan. Where will you shelter if the power goes out? How will you stay warm? Who needs to check on whom? What will you do if someone gets injured or sick? These conversations feel awkward. They feel like overkill. Until you actually need the plan, then you will be grateful you had it. Check your smoke detectors. Check your carbon monoxide detectors. These devices save lives in winter emergencies. If you are watching this and you live alone, tell someone your plan. Give them permission to check on you. Pride is not worth freezing to death over. If you have pets, they need to come inside during this storm. Period. I do not care if they are outdoor dogs or barn cats. If the temperature is going to be below zero with wind chills of -20 or colder, which is what some models are showing, your animals will not survive outside. Bring them in. Figure it out. If you know someone who is homeless in your community, reach out. Churches, shelters, community organizations. People will die from exposure during this cold snap. We can prevent some of those deaths if we act. Now let me tell you about the Northeast Corridor, because this storm is not done after it hits the South. The GFS ensemble model shows a classic nor'easter potentially developing early next week. That means Philadelphia, southern New Jersey, Long Island, maybe even the New York City metro area could see significant snow. The Delmarva Peninsula, the Chesapeake Bay region, these areas could get hammered. Some ensemble members are showing 12 to 18 inches of snow for these areas. And remember, this comes after days of Arctic cold have already moved through. Nashville, you are in a complicated spot. Right now it looks like a mix of snow and sleet for you, but that could change. The line between all snow and all ice is razor thin. A shift of 50 miles in the storm track could mean the difference between a foot of snow and half an inch of catastrophic ice. Chattanooga, same situation. This is a wait-and-see area, but you still need to prepare for the worst. The Ozarks, you are looking mostly snowy. That is good news compared to ice, but we are still talking about potentially significant accumulations combined with dangerous cold. Little Rock, Memphis, you are right on that snow-ice line. This is going to come down to exact temperatures at different levels of the atmosphere. We will know more in the next 48 hours, but prepare for both scenarios. Birmingham, Huntsville, northern Alabama, you could see ice. Potentially a lot of ice. Greenville, Spartanburg, South Carolina, the current model consensus has you in the bullseye for catastrophic ice. I am not exaggerating. If the models verify, you could be looking at one of the worst ice storms in your city's history. Raleigh, Durham, the Triangle area of North Carolina. This could go either way. Slight shifts could give you all snow, all ice, or a messy mix, but significant impacts are likely regardless. Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point, similar situation. Asheville and the western North Carolina mountains, you might actually do better than the Piedmont with this storm. Higher elevations favor snow over ice. Bristol, Tri-Cities, Tennessee. You are looking at a wintry mix, possibly heavy at times. Lexington, Kentucky, snow looks likely for you, possibly 6 to 12 inches. Cincinnati, Louisville, similar story. Indianapolis, you might be far enough north to miss the worst of the precipitation, but you are going to get hammered by the cold. Chicago, same thing. Brutally cold, but the heavy snow band might stay south of you. Kansas City, you are in the mix. Snow, possibly significant amounts, followed by dangerous cold. Wichita, Tulsa, you are both looking at a wintry mess. Exact details still to be determined. Dallas, Fort Worth, you know what is coming. Ice. Possibly a lot of it. Take this seriously. Remember February 2021. Shreveport, Monroe, Louisiana, ice storm potential is high. Jackson, Mississippi, same thing. Prepare for ice. Mobile, Alabama. You are far enough south that you might escape the worst, but you will still feel the Arctic air behind this system. Houston, you might dodge the precipitation, but that cold air is coming for you too. New Orleans, similar situation. You might stay mostly rain, but prepare for a hard freeze behind the system. I could keep going through every city, every town, but here is the bottom line. If you live anywhere east of the Rockies and south of the Canadian border, this storm will affect you in some way, either through winter precipitation, dangerous cold, or both. The time to prepare is now. Not tomorrow, not Thursday, now. Because here is what I have not told you yet. The single biggest factor that determines whether you and your family stay safe during a winter emergency is not luck. It is not the exact storm track. It is not whether you are in the snow zone or the ice zone. It is preparation. The families who have food and water and a way to stay warm, they survive. The families who do not, they struggle. Sometimes they do not make it, and I am going to be here with you through this entire event. I will be updating multiple times per day. I will be going live every evening this week answering questions, breaking down the latest model data, giving you specific information for your area. But right now, before you do anything else, go make that list. Go take action. Because the storm is coming, and it does not care whether you are ready or not.